Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Forgotten Horror Podcast. I'm David Dark, and my handsome partner there is Carlos, Mr. Eastwood for Life fan. And today we are doing a hopscotch one from left field. Now, this one, Carlos, come on.
Yeah, we're going to be sharing some horror movie memories, episode 13, in this kind of low-budget 1987 horror/comedy movie directed by Rick Rossler, and the movie is called Slaughterhouse.
Oh my God! This is like as shady as they get. I mean,
this is a serious horror movie, so let's try not to laugh.
Well, it's us. We're trying to be serious here. It's just not going to work. First things first. The cover grabbed me back in the day, back in the VHS days. The cover. I went into our video shop, and I saw that cover, and I thought, I couldn't believe it was actually on the shelf. There it is. I could not believe I saw that in the video shop around that time because, as you know, the Video Nasty Act was well in force then. So every horror film has been scrutinised. There was lots of movies that had come out and they didn't get put onto VHS because of this Video Nasty Act. So I was really surprised that Slaughterhouse did. I mean, we mentioned before off The Mutilator, or Fall Break as it was back in the mid-80s. Now, that never got released at the time on VHS because of the Video Nasties Act at all. So I was so surprised to see Slaughterhouse. Back then, it was a bit of a bummer because technically I wasn't old enough to rent the thing. Which, because the act was all, you just could not rent. Anybody couldn't, you had to be 18 and over to rent the thing. So my sister rented it and we watched it from the get-go. The story starts off, it's just like the bunch of kids, bunch of horny teenagers messing around, playing pranks and doing all sorts of shenanigans, and they wander onto the property of a, shall we say, unused slaughterhouse anymore. It's like abandoned, but it's not abandoned. It's past its prime, and it's condemned and stuff. There's also, I mean, it's an epic set. It is an epic set for sure. There's old abandoned buses and coaches and tractors and various grotesque props set. The set is unreal. I mean, it owes a lot to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the bones and the dead animals and
I see a lot in that,
and the gnarliest stuff in there. And then there's hogs in a pen, and this couple break away from the main friends, and they start having a bit of kissing. And then they stumble onto the hogs in the pen, and the boy starts winding up the pigs and that, only to be the third view, the camera view, the voyeur camera comes clunking into view like it's a person walking towards him, and sure enough, wallop, there's blood, and that's the first tone, and then the girl screams, and on comes the guy on the cover, Buddy. You know what I mean? He comes in and he's a big sweaty lumbering thing with a beard making pig noises, very much a poor man's Leatherface in a way. That's the guy. And I mean, he comes on and he teases the girl, swiping at her because she hides in this like bus. And then
I will confess, Slaughterhouse isn't a movie that I saw back in the VHS days. This is the 88 film's release. Now, God rest his soul for a former friend of mine who passed away. He was a horror movie fan, and my old buddy Richie, he actually we would lend each other some movies. And I think one time when I was around his house, he gave me this movie. The 88 films released, and I was kind of thought, well, the cover grabbed me, because this guy, he got a real menacing character on the front with a big sort of axe cleaver, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this one a go. Never heard of it. It's not one of the, it's not a great horror movie. Let's get that crystal clear. But there's something about this movie and this character that it's kind of like a movie that it's kind of not that well made. It's not a great horror movie, but there's just something about a couple of characters in this and the look of this kind of serial killer that just makes it interesting. Now, the director, like 88 films, it got released on 88 films, and then it eventually, I think a couple of years later, it got released on Vinegar Syndrome in the US. There is some features on this, and the director is actually in a little small feature, and he says it was a very low budget horror movie. And obviously horror movies are very cheap to make, and there's always that sort of dream, if you can sort of hit a winner, then you can make money out of, you can get some sort of a hit, Blair Witch Project, for the amount of money that it cost to made, it made millions and millions. Now, obviously, this was done on a shoestring budget of, I think, $110,000. And you can see the movie, it's very, very low budget. But the actual director didn't want to tap into kind of like a serial killer movie, a Freddy or a Jason. He wanted to do it still horrific, but with a comedic theme to it. And it's got that in this movie for sure.
I mean, I think for the budget that they shot this on, it's come out pretty well, Carlos. I mean, it's come out pretty well. I mean, compared to some of the horror movies that had a big budget, it's on par with those things. You know what I mean? There's some horror movies that are in especially in the mid to late 80s, where you go, okay, this one certainly sits there among them. It's not dreadful. It's got a peculiar charm to this. And like you said, the villain to me reminds me of a poor man's Leatherface. However, he's not wearing a mask for a start. And you can see that he's obviously got some sort of disability, some difficulties. The character that I like the most is his dad.
Yeah, me too.
The old man. Now, the old man, they're going to foreclose on the business. This new guy, one of his former employees, used to work for him in the Slaughterhouse. He fired him for whatever, and this guy's coming to money, and he wants to take over the Slaughterhouse, get him out of there. And then he said, you can come and work for me. Now the sheriff and his lawyer and that, they all go and see him, and you see the buddy in the window pulling faces, which is pretty hilarious. But when the dad comes out and he starts speaking, you totally buy that guy's been there forever, and he was the pillar of the community in the 70s. The 60s and 70s, this was the guy. They built that slaughterhouse up, and everyone was getting the meat and the beef from there, and he was cutting it prime with knives and tools. And because he saw the modernization of the business as sacrilege, like chains and saws. He said, that's sacrilegious. He said, you can do that with 100 people, where I could do with 10 skilled people. These hands are the hands of a butcher, not a machine, a button presser. And he went, and 30% fat. Said,
I love that line.
Just clogging the arches up of the teenage youth, which and you totally buy it, because a butcher would say that sort of stuff to some modern developer, some hardcore company that's just going to pack this stuff out willy-nilly, as progression was. But you could see the actual frustration in him, because he wants to keep his land, and he wants to keep on doing what he's been doing, but I think he's too old. The place is condemned. It's run down, really. So the business has passed him by. And so I felt for him. I really felt for the old man.
I enjoyed that line when he's kind of teeing off with why should he sell his business, because he's been there for so long.
Oh, yeah.
I love that line, and no 30% fat in my meat and this and that. And I was pretty sure that, you know, that guy must have been in some movies before. I mean, you know, Dan Barrett playing Lester Bacon. It's Bacon and Sons. I laughed at the surname when you see it on the Slaughterhouse. Bacon and Sons. Obviously,
Bacon and Sons. It's proper tongue in cheek, isn't it?
He said it a few times. Bring home the bacon and stuff like that. For me, that character literally carried the movie quite a bit with a lot of the acting scenes like that, because a man in that sort of position would have been like that, you know, not ready to roll over for these newcomers wanting to take over his land and make it what it was. They give him a price to buy the property for 50,000, and obviously
50 grand or something, wasn't it?
Have him as a kind of consultant. Obviously, you know, with Buddy, he's kind of got certain learning difficulties. He's you know, he walks around in dungarees. He's kind of sweating. He doesn't really talk. He just oinks. He shuffles when he walks. Very protective of the property, and if anybody touches his pigs,
that's it.
I mean, this cover is kind of a little bit misleading because it looks like a real big sort of serial killer, like he's 6'4", but actually the guy who actually plays him, Joe B. Barton, was actually, it does say in the small feature that he was actually a ranch hand in Missouri. So when he came up for the audition, it was kind of, they liked the look of him, even though he was only 5'9".
Yeah.
He was a 300-pound big lad, not an actor. So they thought, you know, we'll use this sort of guy. On various scenes, they have him on various ramps to make him look a lot more taller than what he actually is. Image-wise, he wasn't as dirty and filthy as that. They had to kind of like dress him up a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
But obviously, you know, the axe cleaver, which they sort of put together, which Offset was known as the bone cruncher. I mean, all serial killers must have kind of some sort of a tool for a serial killer.
You have a weapon of choice, don't they? A weapon of choice, yeah.
It's part of the act. So, I mean, for me, when I didn't know that this movie was about, the cover grabbed me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's a little bit misleading because he's not, I mean, he comes up to his pigs in certain scenes. And I think one scene he's actually he's eating dog food, isn't he? Out of a tin.
And he's cuddling one of the hogs as well. And he sees the cat, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And there's a cat just lying there looking at him. And he's like, and you can see him pissed off with the cat. Yeah. And he's cuddling one of the hogs, isn't he? Next thing, there's a dead cat on the floor.
Yeah. They actually said on that scene that when they were filming, because like I say, he was a Missouri ranch handler, when they filmed various scenes with the pigs, he got obviously no issue with filming scenes with pigs. He just laid straight in the slop and the muck. Yeah. While the people who were filming, they were laying down, holding their cameras, lying down on various bits of cardboard. I laughed when I heard that.
Yeah.
So the guy kind of like was a perfect
real
fit.
Deal.
He was a perfect fit for the character, even though
real deal.
They wanted a slightly more bigger sort of serial killer, but in various scenes, I mean, Hollywood can do that. In various scenes, they can make somebody look a whole lot bigger. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think the father and son, they kind of carried the movie quite a bit. I did laugh at that first scene when he's having a few swipes and he's missing. I laugh because I think he, with that sort of axe cleaver, I think he swipes that girl in that coach, which the coach was already there. I think some of the scenes were filmed in San Diego, and when they actually found that location, it was a food processing plant.
Yeah.
And it was perfect for what they wanted it to be, a slaughterhouse.
That was perfect.
Derelict. The pigs were already there. They belonged to, I think, a neighbour, and obviously they asked permission to have the pigs and to film it there. I mean, location-wise, it's perfect. It's dark, it's dingy, it's derelict.
I've got to say,
I totally bought it. Slaughterhouse.
Do you remember the opening bloody credits had like some how they were killing pigs? And I was sat there watching. I think I was having a piece of toast or something. I was watching, and I was like, oh, "Okay, we're seeing pigs being slaughtered, live pigs being slaughtered here." But they showed you,
they
showing
do
you the process of what they do with it, how they kill the pigs. And
but they do it with comedic music. And
yeah,
straight away, you know what you're going to get with this movie. It is a kind of black comedy slasher. I mean, yeah.
Well, then this continues in the script because after the first two kills, like it's all about trying to get the land off him, then, isn't it? Because it's like the movie breathes then, so to set up the characters and what's going to be the next act and where it's going to go, but. The conversation with the father to the son, he said, "What's going on with you, boy? You're acting weird. What have you been up to?" And he goes into things, and he sees the two kids dead,
on the hooks.
And straight away, you think he's on the left. He goes, "Oh my goodness, what have you done? Bloody, what have you done?" So they said, "Why did you do this?" And then he said, "Because they were hurt. Because they were wilding up your hogs." He goes, "These kids don't deserve this." He said, "It's the sheriff and the lawyer and the guy. They deserve this." He said, "Those people deserve this." And he goes, bloody. And he goes, At least you made clean cuts."
I laughed at that.
And that was it. I thought, oh God, here we go.
Yeah, so
see then where it was going to go. Then he's like, so the sheriff and the lawyer and the son of a bitch trying to take over. I thought, oh, here we go.
He turned on that bit, but then when he said about, at least you made good, deep, clean cuts, and I thought, what?
Yeah.
But the bit that got me, he said, these kids were harmless. He said the heads that we really want is Murdoch and Sanford, his former, and the sheriff. And when he said that, you could see Buddy was kind of going,
oh yeah, he was
accepting it. That
he was on it then, wasn't he?
Basically, the dad's kind of giving him free range that if they were to come about, that he was going to take them out, which he kind of got a bit excited. He didn't exactly speak, but he kind of got all sweaty and.
Oh, he understood, didn't he? He understood that, didn't he?
I just laugh at that. Yeah, I mean, the kids. That's kind of like, their angle, because you see the backbone of these kids that just kind of want to get to the slaughterhouse, which is a bit of a weak storyline that they want to get there and shoot a video. It's just it's just basically a way of getting young kids there for more bodies to pile up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first two victims, the local sheriff is on the lookout for them, and he can't find them. The deputy, Dave, I think, or something, and he goes in.
His name is Dave the deputy, Dave,
which is just happens to be practical. He goes in there, and obviously he gets his arm sliced or something. His hand
still in the gun.
Yeah,
and Buddy's showing him the hand with the gun going.
Yeah. I actually thought oh, maybe he might come back later, because I thought that was a bit of a soft death. And I'm thinking, even on this rewatch, I was thinking, I'm sure he comes back later in the movie. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. He's just another victim. I suppose one of my favourite kills is probably when they get Murdoch, the lawyer, what they do to him when they pick him up. And yeah, that I had a chuckle at that. But yeah, I mean, everything about this movie, like I say, it's a movie you don't take serious. And like I say, the killer, I mean, they try to make him look quite menacing, but really, he's a soft. He's a soft as shit, really. Like I say, he's curling up. He loves his pigs. He doesn't really bother anybody, but
he's very childlike, very, very childlike.
Yeah. But if you walk onto his property and you wind up his pigs, then he's going to get annoyed.
Do you know the favorite kill that I like? It's one of the kids in that really shitty lizard mask, and he doesn't half whack him across the head. I thought, I did like that one. That was a great, and the blood. I mean, he just doesn't half whack him round the head. I thought,
yeah,
and it's quite comical, because it's like something you see on a reel on Instagram or something, where you see someone get whacked in the head, and he doesn't half go down. The kid doesn't half go down, and then the blood and that. But yeah, and there's the scene where he tries to be. He takes off the deputy. And he's driving the car.
That's my favourite moment of the movie.
Is it?
Yeah, because he goes in the copper's car. He puts the sunglasses on. He puts the hat on. Somehow,
and the shirt.
He puts on the shirt
to fit, and there's no way it's going to fit him. So it's rolled up, and he's got his hat and his shades, and that's when you can see he's only 5'9".
Yeah,
that's when you can see his height. He isn't the 6 foot plus killer that they're making him out to be. He's just like a little dumpy fella with his hat on, and he's like in his dungarees, and he gets in that car, and I think it's him doing the driving.
Yeah. I mean, that was a comical scene. I did laugh at that. They tried to make him a little bit more human, and then I sort of thought, oh, okay, so he knows how to drive a car. So, I mean, there are some comedic moments in this movie.
When the police operator is trying to get hold of Dave, the thingy, and he's driving around the car, and he can hear her. Then he picks up the radio, and he's clicking. She goes, "Dave, is that you?" And he's going, "Wee, wee, wee." It's like, now, if that was safe, she'd have phoned, she'd have radio. The sheriff has said something's going on. I've just got Dave's radio here, and they're making hog noises down there, which would have sped things up. But Dave's love interest from the local cafe, the local bar, sees the car spinning. So she follows him, and she's thinking, okay, here I go. So she gets up and she walks to the thing, and then she sees him in the shades. Whee!
she scarfers off.
It's like a hamster sort of wheel thing.
I like the way he doesn't kind of walk; he kind of shuffles along, doesn't he?
Oh,
with his feet. And I just kind of laugh at that, because I sort of think they try to make him not sort of human, but he is.
Yeah, you can see he is. He can be yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, obviously, in the late 80s with the comedy movies, you went down that route of House 1 and 2, Evil Dead 2, Elm Street 3.
They were adding more humor into horror movies because of the Video Nasty Act, because it was a series, because people didn't have any sense of humor with people being killed like that. So, because every other film like that had been put on the list or refused a certificate to be released. So, by adding the stupidity in it, that's probably what saved it, to be honest, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, while I do like horror comedy movies, I don't like outright silliness. I mean, there are some there is some brutal kills in this movie. Anyone who's like a horror sort of gore head, you will get some enjoyment out of this, because there are some pretty...
that when he whacks the kid in the head with the thing.
when he squeezes that guy's head, sort of thing. I love that bit.
Putting him in the bloody mixers and all sorts, isn't it? And
I mean, obviously,
you see some
the
graphic
good
stuff
thing
in
about it, the actual location, you do see a bit of slaughterhouse machinery, which, you see hooks, you see some churners getting bodies going through. You just kind of laugh. I like it when Murdoch gets there. Obviously, Lester, the old man, wants to make a deal, and he kind of just entices him to come back, just him on his own without Sanford. And when he opens one of the rooms and you can see 3 or 4 bodies in that cart, then he realizes, oh, what's going on here? He can now see 3 or 4 bodies in that box. He feels totally uncomfortable. It's like, and then obviously Buddy is like looking down on him.
He's
with
the pipes, isn't he?
He's hanging near the pipes. He says, "Don't you dare move, because Buddy." What did he say? He said that line. Buddy's a good boy, but he may have what you may call basic hygiene problems. It's something like some of the one-liners in this movie. Just cracks you up.
Yeah. It's a really, really fun watch. But again, back to the plot a little bit. The lead young girl is the sheriff's daughter.
Yeah.
So when she gets kidnapped, because they try, it's a stupid sort of a plot in the end when they say, well, I bet you can't, for $20 you can't last in that slaughterhouse for so long, and they get them back there again, and you see like Buddy's on the rampage and the old man's there and they're picking him off. But when they get the sheriff's daughter, they got her on the thing, and he says, "What's your name?" And she said the name, and he goes, "Oh," he said, "Sweet Lord," he said, "the sheriff's daughter. Well, this is," you know what I mean? And then what I like is the old man's dialogue, because he goes back into his trade about being a butcher. He said, "Do you know something? This knife," and it's got a sharp edge. He said, "a slice on your finger is more painful than a slice across your stomach." And he slices a finger. And he starts messing with the cut, and I thought, oh, brutal bastard. You know what I mean? And it's just those little touches that you got, because you can see the skin, and he's like messing with it. And if you've ever had a paper cut, you know how painful the things are.
Like that. That's what I referred. Yeah.
And he's like messing it, and he's messing, pulling the skin. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. They actually had problems. That final scene, which was shot in the rain, they wanted the final couple of scenes to be shot in the rain, and they were running out of money, and they used a water hose. So basically, that scene in the rain where the dad comes out, and obviously Buddy is trying to get a few more kills in. It's basically, you got one person with a great big water hose spraying water in that scene. And obviously, when you've got a low budget, you're doing long hours to film. I think it was shot in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, 21 days, I think it was.
Wow, that's
so they're trying to cram everything in. I think the money was actually put up by family and friends.
Yeah.
You could say it was a passion project.
Absolutely.
It says that, you get like a very brief interview with the director, and, he said, like, in return for the money, they had to wait, I think it was a year and a half to get any sort of comeback on the money. And then, there were talks that they were going to be doing a second movie, but it would have had to have been done on a slightly bigger budget.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about the sequel, because just before going on air, I'd heard there was, I think a year ago, there was going to be a sequel, but did not know that it was actually made.
Oh yes, I said to you on just before we came on air, I said I was sat there on Prime, I was just scanning through, and I put Slaughterhouse, and then next thing, Slaughterhouse 2, 2025. I was like, no, surely not. And sure enough, I put it on. It's the same woman who played the daughter, the sheriff's daughter.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, okay, okay, this is an actual sequel.
Yeah.
And you see these two girls, and they're on like one of those trails that they have in America. They do these like rail trails where people can go off into the wilderness, and they get so far down. There's like little notice boards and books and things to help them, and maps to tell them where to go on the trail. And the trail runs past the slaughterhouse type thing. And
I mean, how that trailer looks.
It's his brother and his son. So it's sort of like it's like the original old man's brother and his son. That's similar to like Buddy, but they're a lot more nastier. They're in there now as well. So they have, and it's like an old junkyard, you know, filled with all that again. So yeah,
I did see the trailer. And I was like, a week ago when we knew he was doing this, the trailer did pop up, and I was like, no, surely not. I did hear that I did hear they were going to do Slaughterhouse 2, and obviously the Mutilator 2.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes when you hear possible ideas like that, you sort of think, oh, okay. Well, if I hear about it, I might give it a watch, or I might grab a copy. And I honestly did not know that they'd made a Slaughterhouse 2 death metal. I thought there was no. I literally thought there was no connection to the first movie. Obviously, you've explained that Liz, who was kind of like the final girl, she's in the movie. I was like, wow.
She plays the sheriff in this movie.
Unbelievable.
One thing I did like about this, the sequel, is it shows you the original ending and they expand on it.
Oh, okay.
So you see what happened when Buddy jumps up at the end. You know what I mean? In the back of the police car with the dad dying. It explains. So it's not, so you'll have to watch it just for that opening scene, because it shows you what actually happened when with the credits when it went off on the first one. So and it's a very, very good transition.
Oh, okay.
I bought it. I thought, okay, I'm on board with it. And then it went to another story. And for a while, and I thought,
The only thing I thought about that trailer, it kind of looked a little bit too, what's the word, glossy, too clean cut. Where, you know, obviously this movie, you can see it's a product from the 1980s.
It's grainy, isn't it? It's dirty, it's grainy.
Yeah, grainy, dirty, typical sort of like video nasty, sort of grindhouse look and feel to a movie, which is what you would expect from a low budget horror movie. But I mean, I will give that sequel a watch, especially with the Liz character in there, Cherry Lee. Again, a lot of these actors and actresses, they're not named stars.
No, but it was nice to have that. It was nice to have that girl come back as the sheriff, and she's like, "Oh God, is it happening again?" Because she knows the history, and because the Slaughterhouse guy, he puts on a concert to raise money. He gets a death metal band in there, you know what I mean, to raise money, and all the townspeople go, and they all have a great time. And some of them, some of them, it's my kind of music, like it's cool. And but there's the deaths and the shenanigans happening all around it. So it's not as good as the first one, but I like the fact that they tried to continue it for a low budget horror film from 1987 with no stars in there, no budget. To get a sequel out of it and it to be okay.
Same director.
Same director. 150 years old.
Yeah.
And he's done the same thing. And it's in the same vein as the first one. So if you're a fan of the first one, you'll probably enjoy the second one. I mean, it was good fun, and it was nice to see her reprise a role. And it was more shenanigans.
Well, I mean, I'm thankful that you get sort of movies like that, like this, getting the kind of treatment release like a like a label like 88 Films or Vinegar Syndrome
Oh,
US,
yeah,
these kind of low buck sort of horror movies. And when I put the idea to you, obviously, there will be classics that we want to do sort of episodes on and share our horror movie memories. There's also going to be kind of like the forgotten ones and kind of unknown
yeah,
little gems. I mean, this one, guys, let me know if you've seen this movie and your
yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
But
Yeah, let us both know in the comments your history with this one, because, like Carlos has just said, we're going to be covering a whole host of forgotten gems and
yeah,
classics and main known ones. But this is the one where we can get the most conversation out of people, I think, because people have either say, "Oh, I've not seen it. I remember the cover," or "Yeah, I saw this." You know what I mean? And this is what it's about. So yeah,
I mean, look at that cover. He looks like he's about 6'10", because when that scene comes up, they kind of film it. The door opens and he's like looking up, and he looks an absolute beast.
I did do the short. I put a short on the channel. So I've
Yeah,
done a short of it as well, to just to tease people what we were going to do, and a few people had guessed, and people were looking for him. But the guy always reminded me of Giant Haystacks, the
I was
English
going to
wrestler.
say he reminds me of
Haystacks,
he reminds me of Tugboat.
yes, 6'11",
Yeah,
42 stone.
the
Yeah,
Tugster.
tug tugboat. Yeah, it was typhoon with the earthquake in the 90s.
I mean, like, I love the weapon. I mean, like, obviously he's wearing dungarees and like, yeah. I mean, it's a unique look, and again, going back to the old days, horror movies. This kind of puts me back, even though this was lent to us by me, an old friend.
Yeah,
It's, that cover would,
golden.
it's a part of horror movies when, reminiscent back in VHS days that we've mentioned many a times, a lot of it for us, whether we knew about the movie or not, the cover would grab us.
The colour would sell it.
The cover would sell it. No matter how big budget or low budget it was, you
That's
sort of
all
look
we
at
had.
it, you sort of think, oh, okay, that looks a bit interesting. I mean, obviously, on there it says,
You
Buddy
see
has
that
an
in
axe to grind, a big axe. I mean,
yeah, you saw something like that on the video shop, you've got to look at it, aren't you? You've got to go, look at that,
yeah.
the Slayer, Slaughterhouse. You know what I mean?
I mean, the title, I mean, the image, it's
Yeah.
going to make you sort of look at it and sort of look at the back. Oh, what's this all about? And obviously, it is quite comedic. I mean,
Do you think, Carlos, because in 1986, the year earlier, they released Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and that was very comedic. I mean, personally, I don't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I thought it was a waste of the
yeah.
whole mythology from the real, because that was comedic and silly. Do you think that inspired this the year later?
Yeah, I think so. I
Because
think
they
so.
put Leatherface in that vein in part two, where he's and you have
Yeah,
Bill Moseley, who was excellent, but he was still off his. And it was a more comedic thing.
yeah.
So this was like, okay, well, if Texas Chainsaw's doing that sort of stuff, we'll make Buddy like that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, you get the tone of the movie. I mean, I've heard it being called a black comedy. It's not an outright comedy. Like I say, there's some good kills in this,
Yeah,
but
there
there's
is
some
some.
comedy moments where you laugh, but then they're trying to be serious. But it's kind of put in that sort of way that
Yeah,
you can't help not laugh.
and the opening theme, the music's hilarious.
It's perfect for the film.
It sets the tone perfectly. That opening scene sets the tone. And we could have that released somewhere in a soundtrack.
That'll probably sell the CD or the vinyl will probably sell more than the movie.
I'm telling you, honestly, because that's some good stuff on there. Right, Cars, I think we've talked this one to death.
Yeah,
We said this was only going to be a 5-10 minute movie, a podcast, and it's like, again, it's the 40-minute mark.
yeah. I mean, like I say, we're not saying it's the greatest horror movie,
No,
but it's a movie I think if anyone's seen it or haven't seen it, you will get some sort of an enjoyment out of it.
yeah,
It's not the greatest well-made horror movie. It's got
yeah,
plenty of faults in it, but you know, if you love your serial killers and some, you know, like seeing horrific kills, give Slaughterhouse a go because it's quite fun, even though a lot of the times it doesn't mean to be over funny.
Well, there you go, Carlos. We've summed that up perfectly, my friend. What a fun time we had. Slaughterhouse. So, do you want to say or give the people a teaser of what's coming next?
Yeah,
Something special comes this way. Episode 14.
Episode 14. We do have a special guest in mind, and we're going to be talking about a late 1970s, very iconic mini-series dash movie directed by Toby Hooper, which is a favourite. We'll be looking forward to doing this in an episode. So, guys, if you know what the movie is, put what you think it is in the comment section down below, and we'll look forward to bringing that episode to you guys.
On that bombshell, couldn't put it better. Thank you so much for watching. Me and Carlos really appreciate it. We're loving all the comments and the feedback and all your memories sharing with me and Carlos, because it gives us a buzz to keep doing any more. We've had a few requests as well. We will get down to them in time. There's been some cracking suggestions that me and Carlos have gone, oh, there we go. You know what I mean? So you guys help us just as much as we're putting these things out. So until then, take care of yourselves, and thank you again.
And bring in the bacon.
Cheers, everybody.
See you later.